Welcome to Rauta's take on death black metal from Germany. This one is Horresque, and it's the second album of this band founded in 2015. So here we have an LP to be unsleeved. I find personally the word unsleeving way more fitting than unboxing, since there's no box to begin with, but use the word whatever you prefer. This time we'll take a look at this album, second one, featuring a black vinyl, traditional take, and of course this album featuring somewhat muscular and also a little bit ethereal creature on the cover. The album is the Devouring Exorbitance, and yeah, this is pretty interesting, yet kind of a basic. My point of being basic is like, yes, at first glance this is kind of interesting and all. You figure out this guy has a massive set of pecs, not so much underneath, and seems like the face is just, I don't know, fading away. And on the other side you will see the track list and some other art, and when we remove the contents, there's a sticker. I love vinyl. Who doesn't? Plenty of people probably. Then you will have advertisement here from the label, buy our other products as well, and extensive booklet with more art, which is always something that I can personally respect when a band or a label puts more effort in creating the aesthetics. It is of course something to respect. More value, more bangs for your bucks, as the saying goes. So this one features band photos as well as lyrics, including this really atmospheric one, and the rest of the booklet, I'm assuming, I haven't really browsed it before, this one is continuing with the same style, meaning the kind of a black turquoise take with the artists within is going throughout the whole theme, and the same creature is here all over again telling us a story. And the story, well, that is something I am not gonna touch through this review because we're focusing on the music. Here's the band photo, by the way, which is something different, like let's get dirty with, ripped clothes and all, put a little bit, not corpse makeup, but to me it looks like almost like, hey, we were working at an oil field and this is how we got. Joking aside, this is Chasms Pt II, the Devouring Exorbitance, not Exorbitance as I was figuring out, and continues the same titular thing as was going on with the first album. Mind you, haven't heard it. This is my first take on Horresque, so can't really compare this to the previous one. I don't know what happened to my internet, but it seems it died and not really loading the page. Talking of this music, here it is labeled as blackened death metal. And while we could argue it's kind of accurate, it's also one of those, I'm almost bound to say, marketing terms. Because if we really think about it, what's the difference of black death metal, death black metal, blackened death metal, definite black metal? It's basically the one and the same thing. Maybe I'm not putting it here. Maybe it's definitely the same thing, and it's more like pointing out, okay, where black death you could say it's 50-50. With, blackened death metal, you could say maybe it's 25-75% or something like that. But let's be honest about it. These are kind of useless terms because you're going to end up in endless arguments when a band is more death metal or when a band is more, black metal. So take all these genre definitions here with a little bit of grain of salt. And I would just call this one, honestly, black and death metal. Why? Because technically speaking, it's exactly how it sounds in my ears. Sometimes I was thinking, when I was listening to this album, I was like, okay, maybe this is actually more focused on the black metal side. The death metal is not so evident, which is one of the reasons why I find this genre definition a little bit off. Then some parts are a little bit more like maybe it's actually the other way. Resulting, I just call it black death metal. There are parts where the focus kind of shifts, meaning certain parts, certain riffs, are more definitely on the death metal side of things. You're kind of like, okay, this is coming from a death metal background. They're just adding layers and layers of black metal to begin with. This can be about vocal styles or given riffs and all, because let's be honest about it, the production is very, very suitable with both styles. So it's almost like a very, very well balanced compromise between most of all worlds, meaning this is not exactly the best death metal sound there is, but it's good enough for this kind of music. And it's definitely not the best kind of black metal sound. These are very, very much different styles, most bands anyway. But I don't know, somehow it's able to work nicely here. And the result is, yeah, they found the balance, and that's a very, very important thing, because when we're talking about this given style, this given band, where you kind of like one foot on the death metal side and one foot on the black metal side, you kind of want to make sure that you're not annoying either of the audiences, and you don't want to necessarily, end up sounding like weak death metal band just because you wanted to dip your toes into the world of raw end of black metal. I'm not saying this is raw end of black metal, but the point here is this ain't no behemoth either. So obviously this is like a lot less, the big budget, big production kind of a band. But I could really imagine these guys, assuming they would be signed to a bigger label and having bigger budget and big ass producer, to make them sound a little bit more, big budget band. But now the balance is right here and it works for the favor of the band. But what is the other side of the coin, the more flawed side, is that they're not really catering to none of the basic needs, if we can call it that, when it comes to the music. My point here is, if you're looking for solid second wave, not to mention first wave black metal experience with the riffs and vocal styles and all, you cannot feel like this album is not giving you what you're expecting. If you're then again coming from death metal department and I want a proper death metal, give me a little bit black in the mix, you might be all like, not really. So it's almost like a vegetarian meal. It's not really catering to the needs of the carnivorous people who are like, I want a meat and fries and shit with my burger. And if you go vegan, hey, I'm vegan. I don't want any of the, animal-based stuff there. So it doesn't matter if it's vegetarian. This mayonnaise is not. So this is much like in this, weird comparison, much like the vegetarian dish. It's going to cater to the vegetarian needs, being the Black Death audience here. But for the other two, not so much. Luckily, the band is skilled enough to make some cool riffs here and there, but I'll be maybe the first one to say some of these songs are a little bit too unfocused. And that's part of the reason when the songs are like 7 to 8 minutes. I'm not the particular audience looking for 8-minute black metal or death metal track. Give me 4 or 5, 3 maybe, and I'm more satisfied. I'm also saying there are no real killer riffs or killer songs on this album. Everything is nice and easy to kind of hear through, and to a certain degree, like say, it's pretty good. But I'm still stuck with the pretty good stuff rather than saying like, wow, it's super great. So when somebody is saying 94% of this one, I'm like, excuse me. But then again, mileage may vary and tastes are different and all. If you're into black and death metal, there's no reason why not to check this one out. It might be right up your alley. It might be really the 94% of an album. But for a lot of people, especially if you have one preference over the other, this might be a little bit of a letdown. But it's pretty decent of an album overall. I mean, there are no clear weak points. My only real complaint is about these songs are lacking that focus. That's not a really deal breaker, to be honest. But just saying, with a little bit more focus on killer riffs and killer parts, and more focus on keeping the songs just more compact, might really do a favor for this kind of music. But matters of taste are always different, so don't give a shit what I say about it. Give it a fair chance, and all links are included in the description box. So click, listen, and if you like it, I suggest you buy it. It's been out since March 2024, so it should be available in a local or nearest distro to you, and of course online. Off you go. Bye bye.